Of the American prisoners of war being released from their ever so isolating cells in Hanoi, Vietnam.
Yes, their release happening after months, even years for some, of being beaten and tortured in unimaginable ways. For one Utah Air Force veteran, he's sharing the life's lessons learned as he looks back 50 years ago. Here's Lieutenant Colonel retired William Spencer.
I've lived 50 years from the time I was released, and I've been through tough things in those 50 years. That made me stronger.
50 years later, and Lieutenant Colonel retired William A. Spencer is just grateful he is here to tell the tale, one that broadened his shoulders rather than broke him.
It's remarkable that it's been that long because it's so vivid in my mind.
It was the 5th of July, 1972. 29-year-old Spencer was assigned to yet another combat mission. Their assignment was to fly over North Vietnam in their F-4 Phantom fighter jets and break down important infrastructure, making it difficult for North Vietnam to get supplies from China. Spencer says the enemy did a maneuver below them and through the clouds, firing a heat-seeking missile.
Took the left wing and the tail off, and we go to a lot of negative G's. The stick won't do anything. I can start to feel some heat.
A split second to decide to eject.
Then the back canopy blows, and then my canopy blows, and then I go out.
And then only a matter of minutes to prepare for what was about to happen next.
I talked to my flight while I was in the chute. I'll see you after the war, because there was going to be no rescue here.
As he drifted to the ground, Spencer saw his aircraft crash and burn and saw muzzles flashing below. He was being shot at already.
I knew I was going to be either killed by these people or prisoner of war.
He hit ground about 30 miles east of Hanoi, a no-rescue zone, an area with some 19,000 guns protecting it.
Saw people north, south, east, and west of me. I took my .38 pistol and threw it away, and I got on my knees and raised my hands so that when they came over this rise, they would see my hands in the air. Wanted to show me off to different villages, strip me down to my underwear, tie me up.
But the worst of his nearly 9 months as a prisoner of war wasn't the torture methods, sleep deprivation, or malnutrition. It was the uncertainty of it all.
Not knowing when we would be released was one of the worst things.
Spencer knew some men had been prisoners in Hanoi already for more than 6 years and counting.
We looked up to them. We thought they were heroes.
Little did he know he would be released after nearly 9 months, but still a slow and stressful 9 months. He'll never forget the day he was told they would be released.
The day before we were released, I was in a room with just 2 other men. Some filming crew came in, and I said, "Okay, guys, put your face against the wall. We're not going to be a part of this." And then I heard a distinct voice, and it was Walter Cronkite who told me I was going home.
And now, 50 years later, 5 decades removed from the pain, torture, and endless uncertainty, Spencer says he can see the powerful life's lessons learned.
I don't think people appreciate freedom until they live in a room with no doorknob on the door. I was incarcerated by an enemy for 9 months, and during that time I learned the value of freedom in a way I could not have learned in any other way. For that, I'm grateful.
Spencer saying that it seems life's greatest lessons are taught in the most trying of times.
The times we learn the most is when we're going through the hardest trials. When we are being tested and tried, we're learning. And we can look at it in a positive way, or we can look at it in a negative way.
Is there something that you still, 50 years later, get choked up about?
We lost a lot of men. I lost friends. That wasn't entirely necessary.
And in honor of those servicemen and the hundreds of American prisoners of war in Hanoi, now 50 years later, the American Heritage Museum in Hudson, Massachusetts, is set to open a tribute exhibit using actual materials from 4 Hanoi Hilton prison cells disassembled in the mid-90s. The museum reconstructing these cells, giving the world a glimpse into the isolating conditions so many endured in the name of our country. True heroes. Hanoi Heroes.
There's very few things that can convey the horror, the sacrifice, the perseverance and survival as much as the Hanoi Hilton. We're extremely blessed to have this opportunity to create an exhibit to honor these amazing American heroes. This has to be carried on. This story has to be told for future generations.
All right, we thank Lieutenant Colonel Spencer for sharing his story. He is traveling to Massachusetts now to take part in the exhibit's preview day along with other fellow prisoners of war. Opening ceremony will happen Saturday, with the exhibit officially opening to the public Sunday, February 12th, which is the day of the 50th year anniversary.
And we thank him for his service and all that have served as well. I just can't even imagine the strength it takes to go through that.
Most definitely. And it didn't break him. We made mention of that.
Yeah.
But he was one of the most inspiring interviews I've done in a long while, Alana.
I was really glad that you were able to share his story, Emily. That was fantastic.